Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important skills for any Associate Project Manager apprentice, S7. I know, it sounds super technical, right? But stick with me because by the end of this, you'll have a rock-solid plan to not only master it, but to absolutely ace your final assessment.
You know, you're probably already using S7 and you don't even know it. Seriously, think about the last time you tried to pick a restaurant with friends. What do? You gather data, right? Who's vegan, what's everyone's budget, who can't be bothered to travel more than 10 minutes. You analyze that info, you spot the trends, like, okay, Italian seems to work for everyone, and you use that analysis to negotiate the perfect choice. That right there, that's the heart of S7.
So how do we get from that vague idea to actually mastering it at work? Well, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to follow an apprentice named Jody, and through her story, you're going to see exactly how to go from feeling totally overwhelmed by S7 to confidently using it to make a real measurable impact. All right, first up, let's meet Jody, right at the beginning of her journey. She's just been introduced to 7IS as part of her apprenticeship, and, well, like a lot of us, she's trying to figure out what it actually means for her day-to-day job. So, this is Jody. She's a super ambitious associate project manager apprentice over at a company called Ibis Stores. She's really driven, but when she looks at her list of apprenticeship requirements, this one thing just jumps out at her: S7. It just feels so abstract and intimidating. She's no idea where to even start. So here it is, the official definition in all its glory: collate and analyze information and provide input to support negotiations. Okay, yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. Let's just translate that into English. Collate just means grabbing info from different places. Analyze means you're looking for patterns, for the story in that info. And providing input to support negotiations? That's the real magic. It means you use what you found to help your team make a smart, fact-based decision. Luckily for Jody, she has an amazing coach, Olivia. And Olivia just cuts right through all that jargon with this simple, really powerful idea. She tells Jody to think of S7 as learning to speak a new language, the language of good decisions. And that language is data. Honestly, this one little reframe changes absolutely everything for Jody.
So, with this new perspective, it's time to put that theory into practice. I mean, it's one thing to understand a concept, but it's a whole other thing to actually use it. Jody is about to get her first real shot at applying what she's learned.
So Jody's line manager, a woman named Riedel, comes to her with a task. The marketing team is planning their next big campaign, but they're not sure where to focus their energy and their budget. Riedel asks Jody to dive deep into all the recent customer feedback and pull out some insights that can help shape the whole campaign. And this is what's so cool. You can see how that formal definition translates into actual real-world actions. For Jody's task, this means she's got to gather data from all over the place. It means she needs to get really comfortable with tools like spreadsheets to find those hidden trends. And it's not just about finding the data. It's about presenting it in a way that helps her team negotiate, the budget, the timelines, and all the big priorities. Okay, so Jody's got her task, but she needs a plan, a process. And this is where her mentor, Adam, steps in. Adam's a seasoned project manager, and he gives Jody a super clear, structured plan to not only get this task done, but to really truly develop the skill for the long run. And this is brilliant. It's literally the path from being a total novice to a pro. Adam's plan isn't about just jumping straight to the end. It's about building a solid foundation first. You gotta know your data, master your tools, find the story in the numbers, share that story effectively, and then, finally, stand behind what you found. And here is exactly how Jody puts that plan into action. For step 1, she identifies the right sources: customer surveys and sales reports. Check. Step 2, she fires up a spreadsheet to organize all that raw data. For step 3, the analysis really pays off. Bam! She spots a major trend in customer complaints. Step 4, she boils it all down into a clear, one-page summary. And finally, in step 5, she walks into that team meeting and confidently proposes a change to the campaign, all backed by her evidence. So, Jody's done the work, and she's made a real impact. Awesome. But for her apprenticeship, doing the work is only half the battle. Now she has to prove it. It's time to build the evidence for her portfolio. Coach Olivia is back with some more gold. She explains that Jody's APTM portfolio, that's the online system where you log all your apprenticeship evidence, it needs to tell a really clear story.
It's not enough to just write, yeah, I analyzed some data. Nope. She needs to show the assessor her entire process, from the very beginning to the very end.
So what does good evidence actually look like? Well, the standard is super clear on this. Assessors want to see the real stuff. Things like screenshots of the raw data, the actual spreadsheet you use for your analysis, maybe a little snippet from the meeting minutes where your name is mentioned, and of course, the final report or presentation you put together. So, following that advice, Jody's portfolio becomes this perfect case study. She includes a screenshot of the initial messy data, the pivot tables she built to make sense of it all, the professional email she sent to her manager with her first thoughts, and that polished one-page slide she used in the big meeting. It tells the whole story beautifully. Right. With her evidence portfolio locked and loaded, there's just one final hurdle, the endpoint assessment, or EPA. This involves a professional discussion where an external assessor is going to grill her on the very evidence she just put together. To get her ready, her mentor, Adam, sets up a mock assessment. He puts on his assessor hat and starts firing tough questions at Jody about her project. He wants to make sure she's totally prepared to talk about her work confidently and clearly. Let's listen in. Adam kicks off with a really common opening question. See, he's not just asking what she did, he's asking how she did it. He's testing her understanding of the whole process. And Jody's answer is just perfect. She uses professional language. See how she separates quantitative data, the hard sales numbers, from the qualitative data, the customer opinions. This shows the assessor that she was really thoughtful in her approach to get a full, balanced picture of the situation. Okay, now for the killer follow-up. Adam is asking for the so what. He wants to know about the impact. How did her analysis actually change the outcome of that negotiation? This is the most important part. And this is what mastery looks like. She doesn't just say, oh, it was helpful. She is so specific. She connects the insight, delivery time complaints, to a recommendation, reallocate 15% of the budget, and then closes the loop with the outcome. The team agreed. That is a perfect evidence-based answer. You know, ultimately, whether it's a practice run or the real deal, this is what it all boils down to. Assessors are looking for proof that you can work on your own, that you use data to back up your arguments, that you produce high-quality work, and that you can communicate your findings like a true professional. And as you can see, Jody has ticked every single one of those boxes. So, we've followed Jody's whole journey from being confused by a definition to becoming a confident analyst who makes a real difference. Her story proves that mastering S7 is totally achievable. So the final question isn't for Jody, it's for you. What data are you going to analyze this week to make a smarter, more informed decision on your project?